Finally finished the woodworking bench. 37 years of drying and 9 months of building. 24 inches wide, 6.5 feet long, 3-inch thick top, 300 pounds. Here's the tail vise, made from a repurposed 1-inch Acme thread that I made 37 years ago for a shoulder vise that was poorly designed and I don't think it would have ever worked anyway. Brass thrust washer here on the back side of this metal plate. We've got a flathead screw tapped into the thread, the rod on the back side, and then Loctited it into the thread. That's what pulls it back, retracts it. It's made in 2 halves. Dowel pins here for aligning the upper half and the lower half. Bolted together from underneath into the top piece. And then it's got runners clamped on either side between the top and the bottom, squeezing and clamping it together. They ride in this groove right here. Bench dog holes. Actually, they're on a 3-degree angle this way. The dogs here on a 3-degree angle this way, so that when you clamp together, they don't try to ride up. They actually sort of try to pull down to the surface. And I made the seam down the center here. It did half the hole on one piece and half the hole on the other. And they didn't line up real well after I got them all kind of lined up. And one of the reasons I did it that way is I contemplated making the whole width all in one board. But because of the way that I wanted the holes to be fairly close to the front of the bench, I was having a little trouble trying to figure out how to make from here to the front one board and also get this groove in right here. I wanted to try to make sure I got the grooves on either side really accurate so this block wouldn't bind up or anything. So I chose to do it this way. Making this groove here easier, but it definitely made squaring these up. I got it all glued up and had to come in here and do some cleaning up with chisels and get it all squared away. But a little wooden spring there to help keep it from sliding out the bottom of the hole. Dead man here to support the long boards that I would clamp up to the leg vise down here. Just made it to where it will adjust up and down with a handle here on the back. Put the handle on the back so it'll stay out of the way of snagging on anything here in the front. Just rides in some grooves here and then up here underneath the top. All red oak in case you hadn't already figured that out. Leg vise, maple screw, maple nut, 2-inch diameter, 1/2-inch pitch threads here. Osage orange or Bodark handle. Down here at the bottom, I've got a little star wheel that will adjust in and out for maintaining parallelism of the jaws for different width stock. Left it intentionally loose here just for, alignment errors. A little maple wheel to support the leg. Got a piece of 1/2-inch pipe that runs through the leg so that the all thread doesn't bite into the wood, makes it slide back and forth a little bit more easily. Little maple block here that rides on the bottom of the stretcher, keeps the thread from turning when I turn the little star wheel, because the jam nut and the nut here on the front are loose. They're not tight, so the rod would tend to turn. Braces, set into a shallow mortise here on this end with a captured nut. Breadboards tied on this end, slotted and snug on this end, but loose enough to think that it will allow for some contraction and expansion of the top. And then this end of the braces held in place by a wedge that pulls the tenons on the ends of these braces up into a mortise. Rack back here on the back for all my chisels. I made the nut with this apparatus here. Just came in and took some paper, wrapped it around here, traced around the edge of the paper, made pencil lines spiraling around, cut the grooves with a back saw, 3/8 of an inch or so deep, and then used this sheet metal here to follow those grooves. Piece of spring steel here with a set screw that I could advance the cutter, make it longer and longer. Bolted my nut right in here, and then just turned this thing. Sucked the cutter back in here, advanced it out, took another pass. Just did that multiple times until I got the right depth thread. Actually soaked the thread in a little bit of mineral oil. It helps with tear out and also lubricates it and made it a little easier. And for the thread, or the screw for the leg vise, same kind of thing, just traced around after I turned it on my wood lathe, turned the blank, cut a spiral around the portion I was going to thread, used my router in here with a 60-degree bit. The thread stuck in the lathe here, down to the tailstock, rode up against this surface here. And then I had this piece here. For the first pass, this had a piece of sheet metal in it, and it followed the groove. And the carriage rode up and down the lathe as I turned it by hand, and the router cut the thread, advancing the router, making the cut deeper and deeper. Eventually I used this little V here to follow the depth, the first couple of cuts as the thread got deeper and deeper, and then eventually used this wider V to let it ride in the deeper thread till I got it about 95-ish% net shape, and then used some sandpaper and triangular files with the lathe under power running slowly to fit the screw to the nut. Got it to fit with just the right amount of slop and still function properly. If I had to do it again, I would probably, I mean, I'm happy with everything, the way everything turned out, with the exception of the leg vise, maybe. We'll see what it looks like long term. I mean, I don't think I'll have to adjust this a lot. I mean, once I get this set for some particular stock that I'm planing or working on, I mean, it will stay you know, stay in one position, and then the device itself moves in and out enough. You know, it probably got enough slack in it that it'll move in and out an inch quite easily. But they make a scissor type device that is made out of steel, and the top parts of it are attached to the leg, pinned to the leg and the vise. The bottom part comes down here and rides on a steel track inside a mortise, and the same thing for the leg side. And so that's how it maintains parallelism. I just don't think I could retrofit that for this right now. Maybe if it gets to be problematic, I might do that sometime in the future. Retainer here on the screw to rides in a groove to, you know, keep the screw retained. I had a little trouble initially with the vise pushing on the top, or actually more correctly, pulling this way when stock was clamped against the top, and then the leg would come out a little bit because there's enough slack or slop in the screw that screws the stretcher into the leg that it moves a little bit. So I lined it back up, drilled me a hole right here, pinned all this together, and we'll see if that solves the problem. If not, I may have to come in here and more securely attach the top to the stretcher here and make sure that all this is like one unit, keep the nut from kind of pulling everything out of whack. Finished everything with Danish oil. We'll see, you know, how it functions. I'm planning on building me a top to put on it for just working on general stuff, because I don't want to get dirty right now. I mean, it's still new. May come in here and put a couple of holes for some hold down clamps. They make a variety of different ones. I can see a need for that maybe, because I still, in using it a little bit already, I clamp stuff to the front here for parts that stick out towards the front of the bench. So we'll see if I need to add that. Don't want to add any holes I don't have to, so I'll let y'all know how it goes, how things function. See ya.